So I never thought that I would think of which actor would play me. I still don't.
Can you think about it now?
I haven't really.
Now I'm trying to figure it out.
I haven't done much acting, but I've been working on. I've been working on it.
I'm not that posh, but it's very good.
I'll play you. I'll play you.
Thank you, darling.
I'm up for the job. Yeah.
This is Metz with the Hollywood Reporter Songwriter Roundtable. Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hi. Good. Hi.
How's it feel to be here?
Good.
Feels great.
Appreciate it.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I wanted to start. If you could pick an artist to write a song for or collaborate with, who would that be?
One? Oh, this is the hardest question always.
Or one of
Always the hardest one.
the ones.
They have to be alive.
No.
Okay.
We
Oh,
can bring
they can
people back. We can
Oh,
bring
Prince.
Yeah.
Tupac.
Oh,
Tupac
so
back
many.
to life.
Okay, we all just say Prince? I don't know.
Alive?
We all do it live.
Prince.
Because everyone will
Prince.
pick Prince.
Yeah.
I've got it.
I'm like Prince.
I know what mine is.
Bowie.
The Rat Pack.
Yes.
I would like to write a new Rat Pack album,
Oh, so
and I think I might do it.
Nice.
And whether they join in or not, it's up to their estates, but we'll see.
Who else would you guys like to? I mean, you guys have worked with so many people, but I'm sure there's more.
I'm a solo artist, so it's the first time I wrote songs for other singers.
Yeah.
I enjoyed very much working for all of them, especially Selena Gomez, because she already has a singing career. And we got on well, and I don't dare to tell her, but she inspires me.
Tell her.
I'll tell her.
It's really
Look
important.
at the camera.
And there's another woman that touches me, that's Celine Dion, because she says she's been through hard times, kind of having troubles with her voice, and this is very touching for a singer, to be able to maybe write about what it feels like losing your voice or finding it back, and what you're going through. What does it mean when you know, it happens sometimes that suddenly you lose your voice, and it hasn't happened a lot of times to me, but it has happened, and you always wonder, why am I being silent? And it feels like there's another person speaking for you inside, and you need to respect the silence. I find it very inspiring. Celine has had such a career that there's something to say about that.
I think sometimes most of the times we take artists for granted because they're just there and they're in our lives. It wasn't until the Olympics, when Celine came and sang at the Olympics, where I was just reminded, oh my Lord, this is a very special person. Yes. Because, you know, Celine Dion's just there being great.
Right. We're just used to that.
Yeah, but it wasn't until the Olympics where I was like, oh wow, you know. I mean, I don't even know why I bring that up, but I agree with you. Yeah. You should write a song and collaborate with her.
Yeah, that's a gift.
How about you, Andra? Who would you like to
Oh my God.
write for or work with?
So it could be dead or alive.
Let's do alive.
Oh, alive?
Dead is everyone's answer is Prince.
Okay.
I think.
Well, that's not my only dead answer. Dead answer would also absolutely be Billie Holiday for sure. I'd be fine with her just like cussing me out in the studio. I'm like, that's fine. I'd get my whole life with that.
That's a great one.
I definitely would, and Michael, obviously, and Quincy. I didn't get to work with him, so bless you. I'm just gonna touch you real quick. Got it. Okay. Let's see. Alive. There's so many people. It's really hard to say. Can I say two people? Is that cheating?
No, you can.
Is it? Okay. It's technically three people because these three women. I just remember that was just such a coming of age period of my life. But definitely Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, and Jill Scott. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those women were like the new Billie for me. You know what I mean? That was like, and Ella and the new Sarah Vaughan and whatever. Right. So those three women are really like essential in my like self-discovery, becoming a woman, you know what I mean? So yeah, for sure.
How about you, Andrew?
Such a hard question.
You've done it, haven't you?
I know. I'm like,
You've completed
You got
music.
the alive category.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Susie Sue, I love. Haven't heard music from her in a long time.
That's a good one.
Just
What
even
about
talk to her.
Robbie Williams, please?
There you
Please,
go.
I beg,
Let's make
I
that
beg
connection.
now.
Let's make that
I know you've been
connection.
my
Yeah, there
house,
you
but I beg now.
Well, he's got the album coming out. Is it too late?
No, never too late.
Oh, there we go.
That's the name of my song. There we go.
Right.
Love it.
How about you, Andrew?
I mean, dead Jimi Hendrix. You just couldn't hang out with someone. You know, it's just like the coolest
Yeah.
person you could probably spend a day or a week or a month with. So it has to be him. Well, alive is. I mean, didn't you do something with Stevie Wonder kind of recently?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. I would do something. The thing is, like, Stevie Wonder was like my
the
absolute
greatest.
god between like the
Yeah.
ages of when I was like 12 to 20. He was like my, like I had posters above my bed, you know. So sometimes you're kind of like, do you really want to do work with someone that you kind of really looked up to as a god? But I think I would probably do it anyway, you know. You could probably twist my arm. One of the biggest regrets I have is actually, we were offered to do this performance. We couldn't do it for some reason. Somebody in the band decided they couldn't do it, but we were going to perform at the Super Bowl like Budweiser sideshow or something, and Stevie Wonder was also performing, and they're like the only problem with it is there's only one thing is like you have to agree to do one song with Stevie Wonder. And I was like,
Agree.
yeah,
Check.
exactly. I was like, what? So there went my chance, but you know, I don't know. He's certainly
He's with us. Your
Still
chance
with
is
us.
still
He's
there.
still putting out music.
He
man.
just
He's
toured.
putting
He
something
said he
out,
just
right?
toured.
Yeah,
He
he's
sounds
still,
amazing. Yeah.
He's great.
And he's the
You know,
funniest
there's
person.
time.
Yeah,
I
he's
would say
great.
the funniest
Oh,
person
really?
alive.
Yeah, he actually is. He's hilarious.
Tears.
Oh, amazing.
Obviously, you all have amazing film songs this year. Thinking about film music and how important music is in a film, what is a film song that sort of resonated with you or that you heard and really just sort of had an impact on you?
I think the earliest memory for me of one that really affected me was the Phil Collins song in Tarzan. I remember being a little kid and having to be brought out of the movie because I was in tears. Like, really affected me.
I'll let you wrap.
Grease is the word. Yeah, completely and utterly transformative straight away. And it was the first film and first soundtrack on the planet where I was like, I want to be this. What is this? And I still feel the same about it.
I'd say the Sound of Music, the opening scene. Yeah, because when I sing a song, I feel like the character in that scene, like Maria, like singing in this landscape. It's about the joy of singing, isn't it?
That's beautiful.
Both Andrews have really similar names. You've worked with some of the same artists, you know, Bruno, Lady Gaga. Has there ever been a situation where you've walked in with a manager or producer and they thought you were the other Andrew?
Never happened. No, I'm just kidding. It's been happening for decades, actually. It's really crazy. I mean, we've become friends actually kind of through all these like mistaken identity situations.
I get congratulated for Oscars, and he doesn't get the same.
Yeah, no, people
same
come up to me
trade.
and say, I loved your work with the Rolling Stones, man. You know, like, at this point, literally, I sometimes just let them have, I'm so sick of correcting people, I just let them, okay, if you think I did that, that's great. I just say thank you.
Have you guys worked together yet?
We did work on one song
Yeah.
with Bruno, right? And I don't think it's out yet.
Oh, there's a lot of excitement around this new Bruno album, so I love it.
We will work together, though.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should.
got big plans. Big plans.
So you obviously all have amazing film songs this year. Camille, I want to start with you. Emilia Perez obviously has gotten a lot of attention. You worked on a lot of the music. Tell me what it was like to sort of craft the songs in the film.
We started very early on with a director and writer, Jacques Audiard, he was working on the script at the same time we were working on the songs. So we really started from scratch in Le Périgord in southwest of France, and we were stuck in this little studio in the middle of the forest. And so he would tell us about the scenes, and I would try to find a hook or something that would make a song, and I would tell him, that makes a song. That could be a song. And he would ask me, "What do you think this could be a song?" And then in the afternoon, we would write with my partner, Clément Ducol, songs or a song, and then he would come in the evening and listen and give us feedback. That's how it started. It took us 2 years to write all the songs, and then we met the cast and tailored the song to the cast.
You know, obviously Selena Gomez, Zoe Saldana. I don't think I've heard Zoe perform before. What was it like working with them?
Oh, she's definitely a singer. She kept telling me, "I'm a dancer, I'm an actress, but I'm not a singer." I said, "Yes, you're a singer, Zoe." And she's not only a singer, she's a performer. When she sings on the screen, it's as if she was on stage. She really takes control of the scenes and really sings to the public live. It really feels like a live show. I love it working with her.
Yeah, I love that. Obviously, Robbie, your film is a semi-autobiographical film.
Fully autobiographical.
Fully autobiographical.
I was a monkey for 25 years of my life.
Whose idea was that?
Michael Gracie's, the director, who also did The Greatest Showman, and he came to me and at the early part of the process and said, "Okay, so Robbie, what is your spirit animal?" And I was trying to find some self-worth for myself, and I chin out, chest out. I was like, "I am a lion." And he went, and I went, "Monkey?" And he went, "Yes, okay, so here's the idea." Then he pitched me the idea, and before the end of the sentence, I was like, "Yes, that's remarkable, let's do that."
What was it like watching it back when the film was ready?
It's surreal, exciting. Oh my gosh, because I was totally on board with the idea of the monkey, and unless you've seen the film, when you see the film, you totally get it. If you haven't seen the film, apparently the monkey makes you go, "What? WTF?" So, especially when I walked back into the room to see my wife, who is the minister of all decisions and finances in my house, and I was like, "Guess what? I'm a monkey in the film." And she went, "WTF?" And it was only that moment that I went, "What? This could be problematic." Turns out, once I saw it, I was relieved, it was surreal, it was emotional, it was incredible.
I love that. And you wrote the title track for the film.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
With Freddie Wexler, my friend and new songwriting partner. And so I sent a bunch of songs to Michael Gracie, the director, and he would then send them back and tell me, basically, kindly, they weren't good enough. And I know this story about 8 Mile, where Eminem sent Lose Yourself, and the director said it's not good enough, and it became Lose Yourself. And in my head, I was like, this is Lose Yourself, and you were wrong, actually. But I didn't have a bird's eye view of the film. I didn't know what was needed. And the songs that I was sending was, "And now I'm the best person in the world because of the arc of my journey, and I'm redeemed and a big person now." And that was the wrong thing, apparently. So we saw the film, and basically what you need is a hug. So we did a hug. And, because by the time you get to the end of the movie, you've been through a lot, and you need a hug.
This roundtable is about songwriting, and I wondered for you, when you were in Take That and you couldn't write the songs, what did that feel like to have that taken from you? And then what did it feel like to actually be able to write your songs?
Well, it wasn't the fact that I couldn't write the songs. I didn't know that it was possible. I wrote poetry, but I also thought that writing music was for people that had been touched by the special unicorn, because it's
right.
Special people do this, and you are not one of them. So I just had these words, and I think that knowing now what I know, I could have just, because I do melody, I do what's called top line, as I do melody and I do lyrics, because I couldn't sit down, ADHD, and learn this and learn that. I know a little bit, but not enough. What I could have done is just go to a songwriter and go, I need you to do this bit. I didn't know. So whether those songs would have been accepted is another thing.
Right.
Whether those songs would have caused problems within the band, I definitely know, and the answer would have been yes.
Andra, I wanted to ask you, because I think this showcases the power of music. I was at your Amazon taping, and you were doing the last song. It was like spiritual. We all had goosebumps, and there was a girl in the crowd, just in front, like bawling.
Yeah,
and I think you locked eyes with her at the very
yeah.
end. You gave her a hug, and I think you guys walked backstage.
Yeah, to just chat.
Could you take me back to that time and what you were feeling and what that was like to experience that?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, it's always just in honor. You know what I mean? I think what we do is pretty amazing. Like to be chosen to be, I look at us as vessels, right? You know, whether you're an artist or, I just think that we're creators, you know? And so I think that it's just an honor and it's a blessing for me to be able to do this, you know, and to impact people in this way. And I think when I was young, that wasn't something I thought of. I thought about being creative and making music and doing all the things and, you know, videos and all these things, but I never really thought about impact, you know what I mean? And so that just reminded me about alignment in that moment. I think that was huge, that when we do things intentionally, we do things on purpose, when we're aligned, then that is how it impacts people, and that's how it should impact people, because it was a reminder to me that music is healing, you know, and I always reference this, for me as a person of faith, I reference this scripture where there was a village that was sick, you know, a city that was sick. The water was sick. There was a drought, and whatever water they had was sick. And they brought this prophet in to come and heal the water. And I love the story because the first thing the prophet says before he can heal the water is, bring me someone to play the lyre, which was like, you know, harp or maybe guitar back then at that time. And so it wasn't until a musician came, played, that he was able to actually heal the water. And I just love the idea that like music is designed to be healing, you know. And I think for her in that moment, it really was. We had a moment backstage, and she opened up to me and expressed some things that she had really been struggling with. And so it was just a reminder in the moment that that's why I'm there. All the other stuff is amazing. I'm super grateful for it. It's fun and it's exciting. I love being able to work, but that connection is why I do what I do. And so it was just, I was grateful for her even sharing and being open in that moment. And thank you for coming. I love you.
No, it was just, everybody was like, our jaws were dropped. The performance was so emotional, but to see her, you know, bawling, and you catch it while you're singing.
Oh my gosh. It was like, but that was the reason. You know what I mean? I always I believe in divine appointments. And so I said, okay, I think that was one of them. And she poured into me too, backstage. And that was just, I'm not going to express what she said, but you know what I mean? There was a lot of things she was struggling with. And so she said it just felt like confirmation. And that was amazing to hear.
I wonder for the rest of you, have you had that experience either through a performance or a song that you worked on where someone has had such like a visceral response to it?
I wrote a song for the Emilia Perez that is called Papa, and it says, "Hueles como papá." It means the little boy tells Emilia that he doesn't recognize as being his dad, and he tells her, "You smell like papa." She's actually his papa. But he doesn't know. And so I developed how, wow, my dad smelled. My dad passed away 12 years ago, and it really inspired me. I'm actually talking about my dad. Of course, mixing it with some smells, I imagine being smells in Mexico. You know? So piedrecitas, like stones and the sun, and el cigarro, the cigar. But cigar, my dad is French and he would smoke cigar, and other things, guacamole, some cliches like that, but sweet, you know. And a guy came to me the other day and told me, that song, you know, I live apart from my dad who lives in South America, and it smells exactly like my dad. Wow.
It's incredible that you, at the start of that, you just said one word with 4 letters, and it was Papa. And before you'd explained the song itself, we all understood what it was.
Exactly.
And also, for me in that moment, I wanted, a tear was forming in my eye before you'd even said it. And, you know, I think that was to talk about what you were talking about, is the magic and the majesty and the healing of music.
Yeah.
Are there any of you have similar experiences with your songs?
Still waiting. I've had people be
Right.
very,
Yeah,
very
right.
angry, very angry with me. No. Okay, so yes, of course. My biggest song is a song called Angels, and it's also the last song that I do every single night. And you know, every time I perform, I'm stepping up and giving the people what they want. And it takes a lot out of me, whether you believe that or bothered at all. It does, but I'm there to give absolutely everything I've got to this audience. By the time I get to Angels, I've done it. You know, I've done it, and we can all relax, and hopefully I gave you what you want, and you're happy with me. And so I'm just relaxing into this song, and the song does whatever it does without me, and it belongs to them. And then I'm just like, whew, and then I'll look into the audience, and there'll be several people that will be in tears, and I know why they're in tears. I know why they're in tears, because they're either thinking about their grandma that's no longer here, or they're thinking about their mom, or they're thinking about their father, best friend, sister, brother, whatever. But it's a weird situation to be in, because as you're relaxing, you then see this happening for somebody in the audience and feel as though you need to give them all of your attention and honor what they're going through, while also at the same time you're thinking about the cheese pickle sandwich you're just about to have. So it's this odd, you know, it's an odd, like, yes, no, I need you up. Wow. And it's very simple. All I do is that to them, to know that I've seen them and I've recognized them, and that moment is important to you, and if that moment's important to you, it's important to me.
Wow.
I think we're all so lucky we get to be in a recording studio and make art and talk about our feelings, and it's very sacred and spiritual experience. When you're in that studio, you're in those four walls, and it's just you and whoever you're collaborating with. You're making a song, you're making whatever's fresh, what you're feeling, and it's coming out. And you can you have like a glimmer of like what, I don't know if you guys do, but I always try and think about like, what's this gonna be like live?
Yes,
Oh, yes,
always.
of course.
For the artist.
Always.
What's it gonna be like on the stage? And you kind of like, you have this vision in your head of what it's gonna be like, or you can imagine it, or act it out, jump around when it's playing loud on the speakers and pretend. But then, you know, I get to be on the other side of watching the artists perform the song that I work with them, you know, sometimes on stage, mostly not. And watching a song that you made in the studio that you and that person that's singing know what it's about and what it means to you, watching the people sing along and seeing what it means to them, like you just said before, it becomes theirs, right? It's one of the most incredible feelings in the entire world, and seeing people sing the lyrics back, or an arena sing the lyrics back, is just amazing. It's something that when we're there creating the song, we can imagine a little bit, but actually seeing it happen, you can't really beat that feeling.
Is there a song of yours that you're most proud of putting together?
Haven't written it yet.
I like that.
It's always it's always next.
Classic answer.
Yeah,
But it's always
Yeah.
always next. It's like, what's your favorite song? Well, you haven't heard it yet, and I don't think I have.
Yeah.
And there is a bunch of songs at the moment that are on my computer that I'm incredibly proud about and invested in and excited about. And then as soon as it's out there and gone, my next best thing is the next best thing that hasn't come out. And I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, because you've been living with it the whole time. You know, as you said, I agree with you 100% when you say, this was my life, this was my experience, or whatever, what I imagined, this was for me during this period while I was making it. So it's been your favorite song during the months or weeks or years that
Lightning
you've
in a
been working
bottle,
on it.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
By the
capturing
time it goes to other people, now it's for it to be their favorite song. You know what I mean? I agree 100% that it becomes theirs. Exactly. You know, so yes, for sure. I agree. It is the next thing, you know.
I was just thinking too, sorry, out loud, that, you know, you were talking about artists and you're writing what they're going through at that moment. And when you pop artists and blah, 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 and their diaries, and I just realized I've got an album coming out in April and I've written it. But since I started writing it, I'm a different person.
Yep, exactly.
But like dramatically a different person
yeah.
too.
For sure.
And I was just going through my track listing in my mind going, well, I'm not that guy anymore. Anyway,
It's kind of interesting.
You got to pull the album.
Because then you have to like work the record and perform it like it's all brand new to you. And you're just like, the last album we did, I'm like, I made it over a period of, I mean, how long? I don't know, probably 9 years or something like that. Say it under my breath, I get cussed out again. So by the time it came out, I'm like, not only am I a whole different, I'm like 3 different people from what I was when I started. And I'm ready to work on new music. You know what I mean? It's just I'm in a new creative space. So it's a very interesting
It's in you for
cycle.
down.
Isn't that a good? That's a good thing, though, right?
It is a good thing, for sure, absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Was there a song for you, Andrew, that there was sort of a response?
I mean, there's been a lot of different kinds of responses, but I think if I have like an anecdote that's like measurably different from what other people have shared, it's maybe that I was in Russia playing once, and they brought my band over there. I had a band called Mike Snow, and still do actually, but like was playing over there, kind of part of the Sochi Olympics in 2012, and like there was like a few rows at the front. It was an outdoor kind of free concert, and there was like a few rows in the front of people that I could tell knew. I mean, they knew all the lyrics, so they were like the internet kids, the blog kids, and they'd sort of figured out what our band. It was not in Moscow, by the way. This is in a city called Perm, which is like close to Kazakhstan. And then there was a whole bunch of people there who were just like, "Yo, free entertainment," and I will just never forget looking at the reaction in the back of that crowd, and slowly, and it kind of speaks to what Andra was saying about like when you first get involved in music, you're doing it because like you're a kid and you're like, I'll probably never get to do this, but I'll try, and you're just trying to get somewhere with it all, and it's more about your verdicts and how do these verdicts affect me and my life path. Let's face it, we're all kind of like that. Sure. Then once you kind of have been doing it for a minute, you start to take in other aspects of it. And this was one of those moments where, in a very real way, I realized music's important to people. And it's like, oh God, wow, yeah, it's actually really like giving life to people. This town was like a kind of really sad industrial town, very gray, very communist era buildings that were all kind of falling down around us. And I just looked at the back and saw how like mobilized, energized those people were in the back, and just, you know what I mean? It was like, this is like the thing. It's not about, and that's why it's kind of, even as like producers, songwriters, we're all like thinking it's like about some other thing than the music itself, and it's really just about the music. And like if the music, like Kanye used to say, is like if you make them dance, you got a chance, and like if there's something in the music itself that brings people to life, that's really important. And I think for a long time I thought people need food and shelter, and music's kind of like optional, but it's not really optional if you want to be, if you want to live the good life, it's not optional. So I started it really changed the way I felt about music. So.
You know what else is so cool? We're talking about movies, obviously music in movies, but just, music, movies, different art forms. You sit down and you watch a movie, the movie's, 2 hours. You spend that whole 2 hours figuring out, like, do I like this? How's this affecting me? Is this a good movie? Is this a bad movie? Crying, laughing. A song, you figure that out in about 10 seconds. Some songs are 2 minutes long, right? It just affects you immediately, whereas something on picture, it takes longer to do that. It's amazing how, like, you could have goosebumps, like, from one chord.
One chord, yeah.
Very rarely do you allow it to get to the pre.
Yeah,
before you've decided.
That's true.
Yeah, before the pre, you're in or you're out.
Also, some people have that skill. Like, one of my favorite games is listening to a song and, like, you get, like, 1 second and someone has to tell you what song it is. You can't really do that with anything else besides songs.
Yes, for sure.
Andrew, you worked on the Elton John documentary. You've worked with Elton before. What was it like crafting this song? Was it different than your other sessions with Elton?
Yeah, totally. It's a collaboration with Brandi Carlile, of course. And to have Elton do the way Elton writes songs is he gets the lyrics and then sees a picture in his mind, like a scene. He's described it like a movie scene almost, and puts them up on the piano and then writes the song to the lyrics. His most famous partner of all time is Bernie Taupin. They're kind of like a duo together. So they kind of invited Brandy into that process. And Elton sang the lyrics that they came up with together, which were completely based on his life and this documentary she kind of saw, and we all kind of saw this early version of it, and she wrote this amazing thing about his life.
Right.
And I'm sitting there writing a song that's really about him. It's just an amazing thing to witness.
I love that. And Andrew, you obviously worked on The Last Showgirl, scoring it and writing Beautiful That Way with Miley Cyrus. Tell me about being in this, working on this film and the music that you created for it.
Well, the whole film is kind of shot through with some melancholy that I personally feel also when I'm in Las Vegas. I feel the sort of sadness of like the pure hedonism of it mixed with like the kind of like dream of becoming wealthy overnight kind of, there's a lot of reasons why Las Vegas and like that's the setting of that film kind of lends itself towards like a melancholy and also towards like this sort of storied past of the place that is like in the 1960s and 70s and maybe even arguably the 50s where like Las Vegas was like kind of the coolest place you could go in America, and it was like the greatest songwriters were writing songs for people who were doing shows there. I mean, it's still the case now, but there's a lot of other kind of dimensions of Vegas that have taken over and that haven't maybe carried over as well into this era of like capitalism. And so the song had to have this kind of melancholy feeling, but also like kind of a militant sort of determination. And so kind of landed on this particular groove that was a little bit martial, meaning like dun 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 dun, dun like, and then also had some just kind of dreaminess to it, which kind of permeates the whole film, right. So I tried to make a song that like could sort of not in a way that was too on the nose, but like communicate what the character's been through, but also feel like it was part of the tapestry of the rest of the film, like so like all the score that was really my response to the images that I was seeing, which were like kind of these beautiful but somehow sad images.
What was it like to work with Miley? I know you've worked with her before. You as well.
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing, and like the thing about Miley is like every syllable that she sings sounds like her life depends on it, and that's what's so incredible about her as a singer. And the other thing about her is that she's still so young, but she's had such a storied career already. And so there's like so many layers to her voice. And in that way, her voice has the same level of like gravitas that Pamela's character, who's playing someone who's way further down the road in years than Miley is now, but it can actually carry that, so it can actually tell that same story, which is just part of the phenomenon that is Miley, Yeah.
The last few years, you've worked on some really big films, whether it's Shallow and also the Barbie soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Is it different when you're working on the film music versus other music?
Well, I think it is because you got to really get into the vibe of what's going on with the film, and that sort of sets the tone. Whereas, like, when we're working with pop artists, you kind of are trying to deal with where they're at in their life personally, like personal lives, and more often than not, the lyrics are going to be coming from like whatever situations they're facing, and the lyrics have to, the music has to really kind of, I believe, support what the artist has to say. So I think when it's a film, the film has its own kind of parameters, and you got to work within that. And I've just been quite lucky to work with great directors, and like Bradley and Greta and Gia. They're like they have a very strong idea of what they want to do. And so it's really just sort of like supporting that sonically is our job, you know.
Were you surprised by how well the Barbie songs did? I mean, it was the entire soundtrack. We hadn't seen a soundtrack do that well in some time.
Well, I mean, I think yes and no, but because it was like just somewhere along the line, every person that we asked to do was just like, hey, would you like to do something for Greta? Yes! Like, because she just, so many people, she had such goodwill in this world that everybody loved Greta so much. Everybody said yes. So it's like we got to work with so many great artists, and, you know, Mark did such a great job with the soundtrack, you know, which I wasn't as involved in. You know, he was more doing the songs that were not written by myself and him, you know. But, yeah.
Camille, you worked with a translator on the songs, right?
I wrote in Spanish, and I am French. I wrote in Spanish, and I worked with what I would call a language consultant, Mexican language consultant. So she wouldn't work as a translator. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't write the songs in French to be translated in English. To be translated in Spanish. Sorry, that can't work because there's no music. I mean, when I write a song, I need the words to be musical, to be rhythmical, and for the melody too. And the melody, you know, when you write a song, it comes from the language. You cannot transpose into another language. Or it becomes very tricky to transpose. Mm-hmm. So I wrote in Spanish, and I worked with Carla Aviles, a very nice person.
Wow. What was it like when you finally watched the film back and seeing the music placed throughout?
You mean the first screening in Cannes, and everybody's saying, it's great, and I was exhausted and happy to see that people related to the movie with their hearts. That's why I like so much that movie. I think it's great technically, but I think more than everything, it touches people's emotions, hearts.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time when people get to you're saying you experience watching the movie back, and a lot of the time when people get to the top of the mountain, they can have a empty feeling. At the top of the mountain with this particular song, with this particular film, was it an empty feeling or was it a glorious feeling? Was it a mixture of both? Was a sad that you'd achieved the thing that you'd set out?
It's just the feeling of having worked and that people were in their emotions but you come back from work. You know what I mean? So I was basically filled with the amount of work we'd done and actually still looking at the film like it was work. So you know?
And do you still do that now when you see it?
No, what I feel is each time I see it, this is really good. I interpret something new. I see something new, which I find very good because I've seen it so many times.
What's the latest new thing
I don't know if you've seen the movie. For example, I thought on the last scene, I thought maybe people don't know that Jesse kidnapped Emilia. Maybe they think it's a cartel and that it's not Jesse that did it. For example, it just came up to my mind because when you read a script for the first time, when you work on a script, I mean, you know the script from the start, and you forget that people they might think other things ahead. Expect other.
Not see the same thing that you see.
Well, expect something else. That what has been written.
For you, what was it like watching yours back?
I'm a narcissist, so I loved it. Okay, so the first time sitting down, because it's 7 years in the making, and there's so much, 50 years in the living, 7 years in the making, because there's so much expectancy from me that I need this thing to facilitate the third act of my career. Mm-hmm. And I've been excited. And then I sat down to watch it and I was like, oh, what if it's shit? Mm-hmm. And that was my main fear. And then I disappeared into the movie. And at the end of it, it is and was better than I could have ever expected. Yeah.
And were you always on board to do a biopic, or?
Mate, yeah, whatever. Film, book, documentary, whatever needs to, I'm a professional attention seeker. This is what we do, it's like you see artists do documentaries and do books and do films. Nobody asks why do you do that? Could you just, oh, there's a Bob Dylan thing, of course,
Right.
Why is Bob Dylan doing that? Why does anybody do anything? But yeah, so, I did a documentary on Netflix, and the people came to me when they came to me, Ridley Scott's people and Netflix, and went, do you want 4 hours on Netflix? Yeah. Do you want a biography about your life? Yeah. So the universe conspires when it conspires to bring me these gifts, and it's definitely a gift, definitely, that I'm very, very grateful for.
I wondered, had you thought about actors who could play you? Did it get to that point?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, not at all. My life is unrealistic and surreal, and I suppose I could have dreamt that the budget for this film would be this big, but I didn't really. I thought if there's going to be a biography about me, then it's going to be this small thing, and great. It's a great tool to have, and an honor and all of that business. So I never thought that I would think of which actor would play me. I still don't.
Can you think about it now?
I haven't really.
Now I'm trying to figure it out.
I haven't done much acting, but I've been working on. I've been working on it.
I'm not
We're
that
in talks.
posh, but it's very good.
I'll play you.
Thank you,
I'm up for the job. Yeah.
When you're watching the movie yourself and you're watching your story and whatever version of it is being told, and you see the monkey, do you find yourself forgetting that it's a monkey that's playing you at all? Do you get lost in it? It's like, oh yeah, that's my story. Or,
well, the great thing about the film, well, one of the levels that it works on is that when you watch Bohemian Rhapsody, you're very aware that he's doing a great job as Freddie Mercury, and he does a great job as Freddie Mercury, and the same with Rocket Man, and he's doing a great job as Elton John. Because it's the monkey, you're not even thinking he's doing a great job as Robbie Williams. It just removes you somewhat. Plus, because it's an animal, we are more compassionate to animals. So you empathize with me on a level that you wouldn't empathize with me if it was skin and bones and just me. Questioning this is really difficult.
I don't know. I'm empathizing a lot with you right now.
Oh, bless you. A hard empathize.
My heart is melting
I feel
right
it.
now.
Okay, question. And this is a difficult question because I've asked people and they're not sure. In the film of your life, in my film, a monkey plays me, right? So what animal would your spirit animal be?
That's a good one.
Ooh.
Difficult, right?
I think my spirit animal, it would be a sloth.
Oh, no.
Okay, it's the animal that I love the most. I'll think of the one that would
Sloth
actually
is
play me the
the one
most.
you love?
I love them.
They're
Aren't they great?
cute,
But could you
yes.
imagine if a sloth was fast?
Oh, no,
That would be
Sloth.
terrifying.
Yeah, it would.
That would be terrifying.
Those
What,
crazy.
Like those claws.
Crazy claws.
Like imagine.
Yeah.
A sloth
it would
is
be a
like
takeover.
it's very soporific. It's like a very, it's a
Snoozy.
It's like do you know a koala bear?
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's like a big koala bear.
But it's always hanging upside down like this in
Yeah,
the trees. You've seen it.
yeah.
It's got really long claws.
It's not a panda? Panda?
Kind of. Skinny, small panda. Okay. So, sloth.
Joe Pesci.
No, the animal. It's got to be an animal. Joe Pesci's an animal. Okay, fair enough. Anybody else got one straight up the top? A wolf. Okay.
That's nice, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
There it is.
I think you got the hair for it, you know.
What about you?
I would say a French bulldog.
French bulldog.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's cute.
Okay.
What? French
French bulldog.
bulldog?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say the wolf too, but we
Okay.
can't really do two. I would say Wolverine.
Okay, go for it. Yeah. Sloth
I
to
don't know, Wolverine's
Wolverine.
a little tougher than me, though, to be totally fair.
Yeah, it's a really
Wolverines
hard
are
wolf.
very tough.
A fox. Is that where you are? Okay, cool. Thank you for answering my question.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Andre, your film, your song Bricks that you wrote, it's interesting because you're starring in the film and the song is part of your character's story. Can you tell us about
helpful.
that?
I was like, that was great.
Writing that
Yeah.
and acting in that, and how much the music, how important it is to you.
Yeah, I mean, to like the character. First of all, it was great. It was very helpful to be able, because I started working on the music before, you know, we got to set, because we were having many conversations. Well, the movie's called Exhibiting Forgiveness, and the director is Titus Kaphar, and starring Andre Holland, Anjanou Ellis, John Jelks. So we had many conversations with the producer who did the score and also did the song with me, Jarek. And he had come up with a few sketches, and I was trying to work some things out with my band and just see, you know, but we kept coming back to those original sketches he did, which were amazing. And so, you know, by the time we figured that out, we were on set already filming. But it helped because my character, Titus, knew he wanted her to be a musician, a singer-songwriter. So it really helped because, yeah, there was a part of that was just my element. I was excited. I thought this character would help me to be healthy, you know what I mean? No more addiction and stress. But so it helped to be playing her, but also writing the song as, because you see her writing the song throughout the movie, and I was actually writing the song as we were filming. So, you know, it just helped because she had a particular musical identity. Like, we have similarities, but she's very much, like, I kind of float around. I'm a little more transient when it comes to music and my tastes, and I love everything, you know. She's like very much that kind of indie girl, you know what I mean? The kind of hippie, you know, that. So, I don't know, it kind of helped to really nail down the style of the song, specifically what we wanted to do. And then what really helped was the subject matter, you know. I got to watch, I read the incredible script, I got to talk to Titus every day, watch them develop these characters, and one of the things that struck me most about the story was, and I was shocked that I never thought of it before, but I love the idea that, that's why it's called Bricks. The line says, building with bricks that we were never given, because I think one of the great miracles of life is the ability to create a life or a future or build a family that you've never actually seen or experienced. You know, how do you create a household of peace and of nurturing when all you've ever known is abuse and chaos? And so I think that, and Titus exemplifies that, the movie exemplifies that. So I realized, I don't know that I would have been able to write the song until we got to set, and I really had that revelation, that experience. So they kind of went hand in hand, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. You've obviously worked with so many contemporary acts, but I love that a lot of the legends have worked with you. The Rolling Stones, nominated at the Grammys with Pearl Jam. What's it been like to Elton to have Iggy Pop call you to produce? And it's also like full albums, which a lot of albums, we don't get to see one producer working on the full thing.
Yeah, it's not, kind of feels like a weird dream sequence, honestly, to even hear those names together. It's the joy of my life, you know. I'm a fan, always have been a big fan of all of those acts, and just kind of, I guess that's what I'm there to do when I'm there, you know, just kind of represent the fans. Right. Try and
I
make
just had a proper moment as those names were reeled off. How old were you when you came round to my house? No,
Right,
check this
right.
out. No,
That's
check this
true.
out. How old were you when you came round to my house? You were like 19, 20?
Yeah, like 19 or 20 years old.
Yeah, so you came round to my house, a friend of my wife's brother. And
At 19, I think.
at 19
Yeah.
came round to the house.
That's crazy.
And
I'm 34.
we got on really well, and you were lovely.
And you never fucking call me back.
No, but you were lovely and are lovely,
Just
and
got
then,
spicy.
but I'm just thinking, you know, as this young man left my house, I was like, nice lad. I hope he does okay. Wow.
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. You were awesome to me then.
Oh, bless you, mate. Pleasure.
I know you've worked with Quincy Jones.
Yes.
Which is amazing. I don't know if anyone else has, but that's a flex.
That is a flex.
Yeah, obviously he's one of the most iconic people of all
I was
time.
very lucky to be able to do that with him and Shaka Khan at the same time, you know. And remember him in the studio was like, I often quote something that he said to me, and it's not because I'm just trying to drop Quincy stories. It's because, like, I lived in LA for like 12 years. I'm from New York. I moved back to New York, and I always tell this story when I first met Quincy. He goes, "Where are you from?" I go, "New York." He goes, "I tried that for 20 years, man." Then he just like kind of like didn't even shake my hand.
That was good, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think he tried to love New York for like 20 years and just kind of gave up and moved out to LA and just loves it in LA. And,
I feel like 20 years is not a giving up. 20 years is like
20
you
years
fulfilled your commitment and beyond. Like you are a solid New Yorker.
That's fair.
Yeah, 20 years
That's
is
fair,
so.
right? Yeah. But he's, obviously it was incredible. And what we were doing was just kind of, we did this song for his biopic that Rashida directed. Mm-hmm. And, we just tried to do it justice by having the musicality that he always had and was always very ardent about bringing to everything with like not just, he was not a 3-chord, nothing wrong with that 3-chord music, but he was not a 3-chord music kind of guy. So we tried to layer it up like that. And talk about a surreal moment. It's like, I was showing Greg Fillinganes how to play this intro on the keyboards, and I was like, something is not right about this, but okay, sure, I'm going with it, It's like, so I'm always a fan as well, every time I work with people that I love,
Did you find in that experience, you're like, okay, they asked me to be here, so I should just say what I think, right?
Totally, yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like at some point otherwise you're just gonna just waste everybody's time and be
and smile
dumb.
and say yes.
Smile, yeah, exactly. So
Awkwardly.
you just got to step up at some point and just
Do the thing.
jump in and
Do the
learn how to
thing.
swim after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working with
Exactly.
bands is fun and funny, which I know you do a lot as well, because you want to help them, it's a major chord, no, it's a minor chord. Then I started realizing it's just mind you. You gotta just let them do their thing.
Mind your business chord.
It's a good one.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
That was
Thank
fun.
you. That was really
Yeah.
fun.
Well done, everybody.
Great.
That'll be $300 for this therapy session.
Thank you guys for taking out the time.